The room was darkened. It was meant to be, as most prisons were. Kirkus had gone to great lengths to prepare this room for this very purpose. Great lengths and great sacrifice, but the Forsaken's trophy was there, hanging in the chains. Kirkus was both triumphant and furious. Henry Walton winced in pain and gasped for air. His nanocytes fought to keep up with the damage done to his body, but they were losing the battle. The chains cut into his wrists. Blood dripped slowly down his arms. One shoulder was dislocated. He'd hung there too long, feet barely touching the ground, unable to support himself when he passed out. The Forsaken looked at his prisoner, pleased that the feeding marks still shone waxy red, but that didn't outweigh his anger. He was furious that Terry's nanocytes had killed one of his minions. The bite that killed. Kirkus considered himself a genius for not attempting the first feeding on the enhanced Henry Walton, that he made a minion do it. The Forsaken had yet to ask Terry any questions. He didn't need to. At the moment, Terry passed out, and the instant when he returned to consciousness, he was vulnerable, and Kirkus exploited that. Even with the anguish of being in chains, Terry maintained enough mental discipline to hold back most of the vampire's probes. Once Kirkus was inside Terry's incredible mind, he explored much that the human thought about. His enhancements at Bethany Ann's hand, his exploits with the FDG, and his work with Accio. Especially his work with Accio. Kirkus had seen TH's moral compass, and it made his Forsaken hair stand on end. Kirkus had never met an individual like Henry Walton. A pure soul, some would call him. A person who knew Forsaken and didn't hate them. He considered them people who deserved a chance to prove themselves. He saw the colonel joking with the one called Joseph, a Forsaken and the human having a laugh. Kirkus made a fist and drove it into TH's ribs. The colonel grunted as his head lolled on his sweaty chest. Terry's tongue felt like a dry rag stuffed in his mouth. The air didn't come quickly enough, and he stopped fighting it, letting himself slip into the darkness. And Kirkus dove back in at that moment of weakness. North Chicago. Char's eyes locked on Timmons's, the purple flaring. Without warning, her fist lashed out, shattering his eye socket and sending him sprawling. She growled, more animal than human. If you fucking limp dicks had done your job, Terry wouldn't have been captured. How in the fuck did you let that happen? She screamed, spittle flying from her mouth. The pack had failed her, had failed the entire community. She viciously kicked a withering body. Look at this shit! He fought this fucking army by himself, she snarled. 8 Forsaken lay dead, shredded by whip and knife. TH had not gone easily. No whining, no running. He had fought toe to toe, but in the end there had been too many. She studied the marks on the ground. At least 4 of them had carried Terry into their ship. We heard it take off, but we didn't hear it land. How? She wondered, but none of the pack knew. Corey? Char asked her daughter. Cordelia had grown into a near twin of her mother over the past 25 years. Time had been kind to them both. The only difference between them was in their eyes and the faint scar that trailed to the edge of Char's mouth from the fight with her former mate decades earlier. Corey's 26-year-old body was lean and hard. She carried herself confidently and spoke intelligently. Her blue eyes sparkled just like her father's. Her hair was almost like her mother's. She had the silver streak down the side, except Corey's hair was black. Her mark of the werewolf was her furry wolf ears. She considered that her cross to bear, especially since she wasn't a werewolf. It wasn't a very heavy cross, though, and she wore her hair long to keep her ears covered as much as possible. It is Dad's blood, but not a terrible amount. He was unconscious when they carried him away. For whatever reason, I know in my heart and soul that he is still alive. We must move quickly, overwhelm them as they overwhelmed him. Is Accio on his way? Corey asked. Soon.